Hey guys, Mike here. So this is my first video that I'm basically going to be making all year. I haven't made an update video in 9 months at this point, and I cut my hair too short, so I just decided to wear this hat. Montreal is having a good season this year, so that's been nice to watch. We started out really strong, and then we got into a losing streak, but now we're doing all right again, so there's that. It's been nice being able to, I guess, enjoy the beginning of the new year, even though it's just December now and Christmas season officially started a couple weeks ago. I'm still going through my own trial and errors and my own life. And I guess you could say I'm still doing the best that I can, and I think I'm doing better than I was at some point during the last year or so because I realized, nobody else has the same expectations that I do, and nobody really has the same goals that I do. So I have my own life to live, and I have my own things to do, and they don't include anybody else. So I have been working out a lot, and I've been going to the gym consistently for about a month and a half now. I got back into weightlifting and I'm lifting more than I ever have. So I broke my own record when it comes to that. And I'm really glad that I just got up and I did it. I found a good new gym at a good price in my area, not too far from me. And it also came with like group classes. I got the premium membership for that. I wanted to go back. I couldn't really train as much in the summer. I had a rough summer, and I want to like cover everything that I can. I decided to make a video because I realized that I was getting some subs here and there randomly out there on my channel. And I don't want to leave with like nothing, I don't want to leave you guys on last year's personal update, and I try to make these like as natural as possible, but then I try to think about what I did, and I don't need to get into too many personal things, but yet I have no issues telling you guys like what I've done in my life or what I decided to do or what happened. So I was in school to become an electrician, and that started last January, about a year ago, all the way until June, and I left. But actually, my first class was in November of last year, and then I just joined in a bit later. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to pass, and I'm not dumb or anything, but I'm not a genius, apparently. And I had some issues in the class. I always had some issues in school. I just never really did well in school before. That's the kind of person I am, unfortunately. We could all say, like, oh, yeah, just go out and do it, but easier said than done when it comes to anything. And just doing your best is all that you can do, and that's what I tried to do. And in my province, you need 80% to actually pass. I was getting 60s and 70s, so I came close, and I feel like I should have passed at some points a few courses within the program. Like I came so close, it's not even funny. And then I had to go to summer school, and the exam, let's say, was at 8 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person, so I had trouble sleeping. And sometimes I still have trouble sleeping where I live, unfortunately, which is one of the reasons I considered moving, even though how could I complain? Because I don't pay as much as other people do for rent. I'm still living with my dad at this point, just one of my parents. I used to have my own apartment. So all I really need, in my opinion, is a degree and a down payment or a nice car, and that's it. So I've told my friends and some people that my life is pretty complicated, but it could make sense, and there's positives to it and negatives to everything in my life. I'm not the kind of guy that's just going to randomly post tutorials on YouTube or have all kinds of interesting, let's say special effects, or I'm not an editor. when it comes to videos. I tried it at one point in my life and I got discouraged pretty young because I was editing a COD montage when I was 15 and then the computer crashed and then I was like, oh, fuck my life. And I just gave up on using that computer and I thought about getting a video editing software, but at this point, like playing video games doesn't really give me the same rush as when I was a kid. But I have an old YouTube channel. It might be in the description of this channel. Maybe I should add it later. And you could see all the old videos that I actually made when I was a teenager. I was good at Call of Duty. I'm still a gamer, so I was gonna say I started gaming more in the last year or two, and that was the goal actually. Like, I don't know if you ever get tired if you're older, but sometimes I got tired and I preferred trying to have a life, going to school and work, and also having a social life and going out. And then you come home and do you really feel like gaming? Well, now I have some time. Actually, I've been off for the last 2 weeks, and I'm off all of December and during this holiday because it's like a construction holiday, and I work for a roofing company at this point. And I'm really happy with the job that I got. I'm in sales. I'm actually a good salesman, believe it or not. And I'm bilingual, so I can go out there and I can talk to people and make my points. And maybe they look at me and they see a nice boy. And you know, when I said I'm complicated and there's like a good side of things and a bad side, like some people might look at me and be like, oh shit, that guy's ridiculous, you know, silly or whatever. And some people might say, oh, you're hilarious, because I can be. But I tried looking for things that I could talk about in this video. I made another video a while ago that I was going to post as my personal update, and I just never did. And I looked back at it and I was like, oh my God, the stuff that I was talking about was a bit, you know, far-fetched or just strange a little bit. So maybe I was being funny but not serious enough. And I'm getting older, and believe it or not, in your 20s you're young. So if you're like some of the people I met out there in the city where everything went right for you and you went to a good school and you had a good life and you're 26 now and you're already a lawyer, well, congratulations, you made it already. But just because you're not a lawyer or a doctor or a senator or this or that or whatever, like, how high do you have to actually be in life, you know? How high do you want to go out there in the world, and what pedestal are you really going to put yourself on? And I think when you're young, it's important to go out and have fun and try to enjoy your life as much as you can. So I think there's a lot of people that would have been like me when I was 20 to 24 even, especially where you're like drinking and you're smoking and you're socializing and you're out and you're having fun, and that's the way it should be. And you should be doing that, you know, enjoying your life as much as you can, because it's not too late after 25. Even if you're more tired, whatever, don't be lazy, do it anyways. I complained a lot about waking up in the morning because I did it, and it's not easy to get up at 6 or earlier, and I'm not a morning person, so I was in evening school, and there's ways around things. And it's unfortunate that I tried for 5 months, you know, and people are like, oh, you gave up? Well, I had to, you know, because school is not cheap either, and I'm not rich. And they weren't going to keep paying me and funding me if I was failing, and I wanted to go start working and everything. But I said I had a rough summer, besides my grandfather passing away and me being sick for all of August. I didn't really do that much in the summer. Um, but, you know, life goes on. And maybe next summer will be better, you know. Um, I was working a lot in the last year, and I actually stumbled upon some news that I'm very happy about in my own life. The difference between me and you and Zaboomafoo with how my life works is I had a disability check since I was like 25. I was working before, but I got that because I reapplied for medical welfare that I used to be on, and then they just gave me the max amount, so I wasn't complaining, basically. And maybe it's because they like me deep down, the government, because I might try to act tough and stuff, but I'm still a sweetheart. And, I try to be real. I try not to have like such a crazy persona or an image, but I understand how when you're young, you don't really give a fuck about the whole world. And one day, you're going to be older just like everybody else, and you're going to see how expensive things are, and you should be focused on yourself and your life and this and that. And it's very normal to have stress when you're growing up, because even like on TV, you see all these people that are playing 20-year-olds or high school kids, and they're actually a lot older. You know, like all the Hollywood stars. I mean, you're not really supposed to compare yourself to anyone or them. So you'll have these like 20-year-old, 5-year-old girls that look like they're 18 and they're on TV. And it's just for show, right? So in real life, we try to keep up with that and maybe go out there and have fun and whatever. But in reality, like, reality wasn't meant to be like a movie. So if your life already is a bit like a movie, I mean, you gotta count your blessings. And they say if you're bored or whatever, you have to be grateful, because not everybody is that privileged. Like, I woke up today and I had food waiting for me, and I also cooked, and I had a good brunch. And I can't complain. I had pancakes, hash browns, eggs that I made with veggies and bacon, and my coffee. And I skipped coffee yesterday, and I got my 9 hours of sleep. And it's Sunday also, so I took a day to chill. And besides that, like, am I working hard enough? I'd say yes, because I actually do go to the gym a few times a week, like 3, 4 times a week now. And sometimes it's just like a fitness class, which isn't as crazy, But when I actually go to the gym, I go for 2 hours, and I can lift 40 to 45 weight dumbbells, and I'm really strong when it comes to my cardio. I'm a runner. I did the Terry Fox run in September, and I donated to charity, and I had a group for that. And I also, I guess, cleaned for my grandma in the last year. The news that I was talking about before, that I actually found out this year, is that I was allowed to make more money than I thought I was. I didn't know until I asked them. I didn't want to call the government and be like, hey, so if I have a job, am I allowed like to make a certain amount, until I found the right thing. So if you believe in manifestation, I actually did manifest something pretty good. Even if I didn't do amazing in school, unfortunately, it's not over yet. And I know it's taking me forever, but there's some reasons behind it. Life sometimes gets in the way of your education. And if you're still listening now, well, thank you. I try to be interesting, like I said, but it's my life. I'm not afraid to admit it. There's a lot of things that interest me in life. And of course, I do like making money. And there's other ways to make money besides YouTube. So I don't have like a lot of followers, but it doesn't mean that I'm some broke bitch either, you know? So there's like different options out there. And I found a job that I like, believe it or not. Some people wouldn't like it, but my job involves walking like the mailman. So I'm okay with that. I like walking. I like doing cardio. I like exercising. I like fresh air. I like the outdoors. I'm a bit of a nature guy. I always enjoyed being in the forest. I liked being by water and stuff like that. And I always enjoyed camping as a kid. And I went camping once last year, but not all the time, And I complained to people that like I didn't really go on vacation enough in my life, but it's still not too late. And I'm trying to hurry up as much as I can, but there's so many things that I want to do or I have to do. And sometimes people would say like I say too much, because you hear me now and I can just ramble on and on and on. And, that's the way I am. That's the way my brain works. And that's not really such a terrible thing. Actually, if my brain really works that fast, sometimes I feel like I'm fast, and in the mornings maybe I'm more slow, but that's just the way it is. And maybe I had a teacher that saw me struggle and they thought that I wasn't supposed to be in the program that I am. And some people would say like, "Oh, I think you'd be better off doing this or that." And it's like, no, I think I will decide for myself what it is that I should and shouldn't do, and it's up to me and it's up to you to do whatever it is. And I could tell you whatever it is, that I want, but in the end, it's up to you. And you can't control people. And I have a friend that used to work in IT, and he found it super boring. And then he decided to go work on a farm, and he still wants to be a veterinarian, and he's only going to get there in 5 years. He has another 5 years of school, and he has a bachelor's degree and what have you. So the only other thing that I'd really be interested in studying in university, if we're going to focus on that, let's say as something that I need to do to become an eligible bachelor or whatever, would be liberal arts, because I didn't really know what it was all about before, and then I researched it, and I'm thinking that that's kind of like what I would be interested in, besides what it is that I already decided to study, which was to learn how to be a technician in telecommunications, to work for companies like Bell. So I still think that that would interest me, because I've always had an interest in technology. And unless you're studying software development, like what else are you really going to study? You want to do tech support, or I don't know. So you need money to make money. And when I was 20, I wasn't really thinking about the bigger picture. But if you look at like Carey Price, for example, in the Montreal Canadiens, he's still not retired, but actually he's injured, and he's been injured for the last 2 years, and he's not playing for us anymore, but he's still officially on the payroll until like next year. And he became a doctor right after my age. He went back to school at 29, and he got it done at like 38. So all these kids out there, that are young and they're 20 to 25, and they're thinking like, oh, I'm not a lawyer yet. Well, it's not too late. If you really want to go out there and do something with your life, just do it, like Shia LaBeouf would say. And there's all kinds of people that got into better shape later. And I'm still writing a book, and I wrote a few pages in the last week or two. So that's in the works. I signed up for salsa classes because I love dancing, and that's something I'm going to do at the beginning of next year. And I'm going back to school in January. I'm going to go retry again, because I passed all of my telecom until I got kicked out of the class, actually, in September of 2024, for getting into a really dumb argument with a woman that had it out for me. And it's a stupid story and whatever, but I really feel like she was always mad for nothing. And I might have mentioned it in one of my videos before. But that's my life. So I'm glad to be living where I am. I'm glad for the job that I have. I tried focusing on investments in the last year, but it's been a crazy year, for the stock market. And I think last year it did like much better in the last year or two. And it's actually unfortunate that I wasn't able to profit or prosper from it. Like I wasn't making tons of money or anything, but I could have. And I see where I went wrong. And they normally say that you have like the fear of missing out when you begin with that stuff. And you could start and feel like you should have started before, but I didn't play it safe enough, and I put my faith into the wrong thing. So for that, I would say I think it's better to play it safe than to be sorry. And you and everybody else is hoping for the exact same thing and hoping for the most, and you're not really more special than anyone else when it comes to let's say the stocks and what's happening in the market itself. So how could I believe that somehow I was gonna prosper so much from one thing? And don't put all your eggs in the same basket. And now what I have to do is wait. I have to wait to regain what it is that I lost. And I'm lucky that it wasn't worse than it was. I learned a big lesson with that. Like I said, I tried focusing on investments this year, and that's what kind of like hurt me at one point. Was like I realized that I could have made $10,000 in like a few months just from, let's say, putting your money into Ethereum when it's all the way down, and then it doubled from April until July. It went all the way up. It went down and then back up. And crypto's not like, the answer to life as much as some people wish that it was, and you think you're fancy because you're doing that. Well, I don't know. A lot of people lost a lot of money doing that shit. So you have to be careful, and it's dangerous. And yeah, I still try to play my cards right. I went to the casino actually for once in my life, and I played poker in March, and I lost on the Friday all my money, and then I came back actually on the Sunday. I had $100 left or something, and I won it all back plus 80 something dollars. So I had free food and drinks, and that's gambling. So at that point, it's like I was like gambling for fun. It's the first time I ever went to the casino. I went on my own, but I saw a guy that I knew there that used to date my sister, actually. So see, I tried to do a lot of things this year, and you can do whatever it is that you want to, and what is it that you want to do with your life? Well, once again, that's up to you. But for me, I'm glad that I decided to game more, and I still have a Twitch channel, but I think it's kind of like pointless because it's not going to pay me, and I'm just streaming for nothing. And there's Kick too that pays better, but then I have like more followers on Twitch, so I'll just try to stream and do that. But like back in the day, I never gave a fuck about Twitch, or YouTube as much. And here I am just making a random video saying I'm still good, I'm still alive, I still exist. For anyone that cares, like I said, I got a few more subs in the last year or so by putting up random videos, Trailer Park Boys animated series, and this is me, and I'm still living in Canada, and I was thinking, like, should I maybe move? Should I leave Montreal because it gets pretty crazy here sometimes with the politics and the language barriers and all the crazy kids running around downtown, I guess. But I've been there and I've done that, and life goes on. I actually have been through a lot of shit in my own life, and now I see like a brighter future for myself. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. So don't beat yourself up too much. Anyways, and it's like, do I want to be a DJ? No, I thought about it. Okay, well, what else can I do in my life for fun or for work? And I figured out what I wanted to do when I was a kid. I didn't have the biggest dreams in the world. I didn't want to be like a rocket scientist or a physicist or anything like an astronaut. I never made it happen, and I don't care. Not really. So I've lived in reality for a long time, and some people are stuck, I guess, in some kind of abnormal state of mind out there. Like there's a lot of weird people on the internet, and there's a lot of people that maybe need help, but I'm not a therapist at the same time. So even though I think I would be good as a guidance counselor, and that's something that you could do if you have a liberal arts degree. So if I had the money, would I go to school and try to learn as much as I could? Maybe I would, actually. And does that make me nerdy? Well, maybe life would get boring if you stopped learning, and it's better to push yourself than to be a burnout forever. I mean, I try to live in reality. I meant some people apparently don't, but yet reality is boring, so you gotta try to find some ways to enjoy your life and keep dreaming and keep on keeping on. And when they say that, it's not even supposed to be like a negative thing. There's that song by Aerosmith, Sing for the Moment. Dream On. I mean, anyways, both of those songs have a strong message about how the world works. And I don't think you're supposed to have it all figured out by my age. And I started contemplating the possibility of me and the fact that everybody grows up eventually and could potentially be a parent. And would I be fit to be a father? I don't think I'm a real role model and I'll be honest about that. And I'm okay with the idea of just not having kids and not having like a whole normal life. And that's what I wanted. So before, when I was saying like I never really wanted to be an astronaut and I never shot for the stars academically, I mean, believe it or not, I actually have everything I ever wanted. And at this point, all I need is a little bit more money and maybe like another vacation during the year. And I grew up in a good family and a good home. My parents often talked about God, and you're not supposed to like care so much about money either because money is the root of all evil. But nowadays, it does seem like people are more obsessed with it than ever before, like the Gen Z, because they saw how expensive everything is, and that's what's on people's minds. Believe it or not, before 2015, nobody ever complained about the rent prices, inflation, and the pandemic and all that shit. So I grew up until I was 19 without a cell phone in my pocket all the time. I'm 29. I'm a millennial, and I'm actually happy about that because I remember how good life used to be. And no offense to any Gen Z people, but like college humor, like imagine watching that if you were like 20 or even a teenager and you're just like understanding it, you're vibing with it, or watching 21 Jump Street, which I did at 18. Like people used to think like I was the guy. I was a party boy. I was someone that went out there and had friends and had a great time with so many people. And then I realized things that burned me was trying to get too close to people. You gotta be careful with people in general. They say trust no one. Some people really don't. I don't want to live in a world like that. I'm sorry that life is not really as fun as it was, but that's why it's better to just be in your own world because somebody from the 80s or the 90s is not going to want to live life the same way as somebody from this day and age. They're looking at the younger people and they're thinking like, okay, well, I'm not trying to get with the times. I'm not trying to be like you. I don't care so much about the new age artists and musicians and rappers out there or whatever, but most people, they live their life as best as they can until they're older, and then everybody just ends up more or less in the same financial predicament, unless you're already rich or really poor or really messed up, or I don't know. I said there's all kinds of people out there. Most people are just normal, everyday people like me, good people just trying to get by and make the world a better place, and we don't make the news. So I'm pretty happy with my life, but nobody cares. That's life at this point. And the hot girls want a whole fairy tale. They want the whole shebang. They want 2 vacations a year. They want you to be perfect and make $100,000 a year and this and that. But just because you're under 6 foot and aren't rich doesn't mean that you're not okay. And that's the thing. You know, I never really used to doubt myself that much, but I think you doubting yourself is actually a sign of intelligence. Like they say, like the smart people are the ones that are the least confident. I was never like a bro, like a macho libre kind of guy or like a douchebag, but I think that everybody in their late 20s as a man, that's the time where you're supposed to excel as much as possible. Like, because if you grind it all throughout your 20s, then you get to 27, 28, 29. Now it is the best years of your life, actually, because now you finally have money if you did something right, if you made the right choices, and maybe you had kids, maybe you didn't, but kids are expensive. So that's the kind of stuff that I think about. I will spare the details because now I'm just like saying like, obvious things or whatever. But for me, I was always the kind of person that basically never gave too many fucks about the real world until I realized most people, we all end up in the same boat eventually. And everybody's entitled to their opinions. And I have tons of opinions. And there's a lot of things that people say, and I'm just like, well, I don't feel that way, or I disagree, and fine, we'll agree to disagree. And maybe we don't have to talk so much about everything, and maybe I should value my peace and quiet a little bit more nowadays. But I remember how good life used to be. And now I feel like life is not really the same, and it's sad. And maybe I could talk more about that some other day and try to go into spirituality and philosophy and whatever. But for now, it was still just a personal update. So I could have went to Cuba in the last year, but I didn't feel like wasting my money on a vacation. Maybe that makes me look like less rich on Instagram, but they say that working out makes you feel more tired, usually, but it's making you stronger in the end. And investing makes you feel poorer at first, but in the end, it'll pay off. And if you put $200 into a stock that is only $20 and it turns into $40, and at that point, you've doubled your money. And that's something that should have been obvious to me, but never really was. So I just gave all the kids a big tip, and you could say, like, no shit. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure some people never realized that, because some people still think they're going to get rich off Bitcoin. And at this point, it's like at what, $90,000 US. So for you to double your money, if you put $1,000 in there and you want 2,000, it has to go to 180,000 for you to double your money. So at that point, it's like, I don't know, is it really worth it? Pretty much all stocks work the same way. And they don't teach you how that shit works. And that might as well be the big secret. I'm just telling you right now for free, because who fucking cares if you know that? You're watching me. I'm an underground guy in my city. And anybody could say whatever they want. Just because I don't have a criminal record, which is a good thing, doesn't mean that I'm not an underground legend in my own scene, my own electronic dance music scene. And maybe some people thought that at this point I became outdated, but I used to be something out there on the dance floor, I swear. So life goes on, and life changes. I'm still alive, Pearl Jam. And maybe I'll give more fucks about the public and about my future at this point. And I am healthier, even if sometimes I enjoy eating pizza and chicken wings like always. I had more salad this year than ever, and I cook, and I still clean, and I have all that stuff to do. And I try to make sure that my family is taken care of, my family is happy with me, and I still have high hopes for the future. So that's basically it. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I'll keep doing my best, and I'm glad that I gave it a shot at least. Maybe I wasn't meant to be an electrician. I thought construction would pay well and it would be a good idea, but it's not easy, and I'm not a morning person. So it's either I work a night shift or I have a normal job in the day, and maybe I don't want to like be up all night or in the morning, but I never used to mind being a night shift worker, but it's probably better when you're like younger, and then eventually you might want to like grow out of that and join the rest of the world throughout the day, because everybody else is up in the day, and unless you're like a real loner and you just want to stay up all night, I mean, maybe it's not for you. Night shifts are not that easy anyways. Some people prefer them. But imagine like having a kid and then also working a night shift. You would see them before you leave for work, I guess, in the evening at supper time. and you would see them when you're getting home from work and they're going to school, and then you'd sleep during the day. I mean, it would be possible, right? But then on the weekends, you'd be really tired, and who knows? So most people just want a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 6. Um, and most of us are not going to get rich, and that's all right. But I'll still be fine living in my own life and doing my own thing, not trying to be like everybody else, anyways. Yep, I used to be cool out there when I was 17. Actually, I had all kinds of friends and admirers, and maybe I was a bit too self absorbed, but I did a lot of healing in my life. In my 20s, I worked on myself a lot, and I wish nothing but the best for anyone out there trying to do the right thing and try to be the best that they can be, and maybe that's enough. Maybe that's good enough for me, and whatever it is that you're doing, that's good for you. And I kept pushing, and here I am. Gonna be 30 next year, and about how long? 4 months. And I feel like my whole life changed multiple times since I was 20, 21 years old. It's ridiculous how much changed. I forgot to mention that I actually cut out drinking, so I only drink like maybe once a week at this point. And I'm on a sober streak, so I haven't had a drink since not last Friday, it's Sunday, but the Friday before, and I only had one drink, and before that, might have been like a week before that, where I had a couple glasses of wine or something. So I'm really pushing myself at the gym, and I'm also using creatine and protein powders and eating healthy and cooking. So I know how to cook, I know how to clean, and what's complicated about me is some people would be like, well, I was depressed, and I was, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I kept pushing, and I guess we all have a tough story that we could try to build from. So um, I have a friend that's been to jail, and he's doing amazing with his family, and he's better than ever. And you gain a lot of clarity in your life as you grow up, and it's not where you want to be because I don't know. It's better to try to be at peace and to live your life in a nice way. Like they say, oh, nice guys finish last. But I mean, we'll be done eventually, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll be happier in the future because of what happened. And they say to trust the process. And I always try to do good in my life. But I've seen like some videos, let's say, making fun of the world today. And it shows like a guy that just wants to go outside for a stroll, and then he walks out of his house, and as soon as he walks out, he sees like what's happening in the world, like based off of what it is that you see on the news, and he just like runs back inside because what the hell is going on out there? But it's not really that crazy when you walk outside. It's only on the internet, right? And you're seeing all this shit that's happening, but it's not really happening in front of you. So we know all kinds of crazy things, but does it make you money? And maybe in the end, you're only worth like what you know. What can you do? And um, what's gonna be your point? Maybe life is fun for you now because you're young and you're enjoying the experience and you don't need so much more, but eventually you might actually want to go out and get a job. And there's some people that are complaining about having to work, but I like my job. I like going out there and making money, and I'm a salesman, like Will Smith from The Pursuit of Happiness. And what's stopping me from going out there and trying to live my dream, trying to live my life to the fullest and live my best life, and I'm planning for the future. I want to have a dog. I want to get a cat again in the future, but at this point we don't have pets running around. I don't have kids, so I could see there being a lot more to look forward to in my life, a lot I haven't experienced yet. In the end, I might turn out to be just like anyone else, out there in their 30s or 40s, just some random ass person that nobody knows anything about, but yet I carry with me um, a lot of love in my heart for my friends and family, even if people sometimes gave me a hard time and people said I was annoying and they were tired of hearing me and whatever. Like, I'm still gonna do my own thing. I don't need anyone per se. I'm capable of taking care of myself. So that is good for me. And I try to mind my own business and do my own thing. And I'm stronger than ever. And I do want to be smart and make the right choices and all that stuff. So I guess I'm on the right path. I have a lot to say. I know. But that's it. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, hoping for the best, but knowing that, in reality, life is what it is, and you got to make the best of it as much as you can. So that's it. Thank you.